I've got to go. My mom's here, you whispered into the phone. Can you hang on for a second? I gotta answer my mom. You spoke into the phone. Oh, bye. I have to hang up now. You battled with the phone. You stared at your mom with the phone in your hand and your mouth open. Can you hang on for a second? I gotta answer my mom. You spoke into the phone. I'm not hanging up on him. Hang on for a second,
No
Derek.
worries.
Derek, my love. No worries. Say I said hello. Leaving things with him there, you lowered the phone to the counter. So, what's happening? I'm talking to Derek. He says hello. Derek Suarez? Her eyebrows arched in curiosity, but she still wore a grin. And did he happen to call out of the blue, or was it you who gave him a call? Maybe to ask a certain question? Yeah, he's the lucky guy I asked at the soiree. Okay. What kind of outing will it be? Her voice was hesitant but serious. It's a date. You know what it is. Come on, what do you think? You couldn't bring yourself to speak. No, I'm gonna be like, you know what it is. Mom nodded understanding. She wore a wispy smile. Would you mind putting him on speaker for a second? I need to ask him something about tomorrow. Oh, the request caught you off guard and you fumbled. See, this is why I'm glad I didn't hang up on him. You fumbled the receiver for a second, but you got under control and hit the speaker button. Derek, you can talk to my mom. I put you on speaker. Hello, Mrs. Angel. Hey there, I have a quick question. What are you intending going out with Hark for his very first date? Oh my goodness. Look at that grin. Look at that grin on her face. Oh my gosh. She's doing the whole, like, parent with a shotgun. So what are you intending? With my son. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that face is gonna creep me out. Poor Derek. Mom, you're going to make him uncomfortable. Stop embarrassing me. You don't have to worry about that, Mom. To be super good to me, that's what. Isn't that right, Derek? Yeah, Derek, what are your intentions? You don't have to worry about that, Mom. I'm standing up for Derek. Derek is going to be a true gentleman. I know he will be. It was so obvious that they were good. You didn't get why Mom had bothered to ask. To prove it, Derek didn't buckle whatsoever from the pressings your mom
I've got
put
a
on
plan.
him. I have the extra best of intentions. Hark is gonna have such a fun time, he won't even know what hit him. Okay, good. That's enough for me. The big day isn't even here yet. You wondered if that meant she intended to give a repeat of this performance tomorrow. You were afraid to find out. Alright, bye then.
See you
Bye.
later.
Oh, I can't wait to see Derek all dressed up. That'll be so exciting. I'm sure he's gonna look so handsome. Oh, handsome. Look all dressed up. Take care and see you soon. There were some happy giggles that snuck. I'm wondering if he might even do something with his hair. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. Would he like have it slicked back? Would he spike it up even more? I'm curious. There were some happy giggles that snuck through before all sound on the other side cut off, marking the end of the conversation. Well, would you mind if I borrowed the phone now? I'll give Derek's parents a call back and get everything squared away. You held the receiver out and Mom strolled over to pluck it out of your hand. Thank you very much, kiddo. Your part of the prep work was finished. And the rest of the afternoon passed by just like that. Back in your room, your mind was alight with visions of tomorrow night. The soiree was something, but not nearly as exciting as going on your first date. You were thrilled that Derek had actually said yes, that he was your genuine date to a party. You hugged your knees to your chest, overawed by the thought. The night couldn't come soon enough. The evening of the soiree had arrived, the daylight hours having slipped away in a blur. Up in your bedroom, you were getting ready for the big event. That was your intention, at least, but you hadn't settled on an outfit. Stationed in front of your wardrobe, you scanned over the clothing you had at your disposal. Though Ma had mentioned this event was a bit dressier than a normal get-together, you didn't necessarily have to comply. You looked for something formal. I like dressing up. You wonder how Derek might feel about your outfit. I wondered how Derek might feel about your outfit. You couldn't help but consider how he would respond to the way you were dressed. Would he like seeing you dressed all fancy, or would it reinforce the weirdness of the situation? Your mind drifted the next city over. Was Derek going through these same steps right now, staring at his wardrobe and trying to decide what to wear? I would prefer Derek getting all guzzied up. I prefer him getting all formal, because I don't get to see him formal that often. You had no idea if he would dress up for the occasion himself, or if he'd wear his usual attire. It would be so much easier if you knew what he was going to do. You didn't want to look stupid in front of Derek. You wanted to impress Derek. You didn't want to come across as too excited. You didn't want to look like you were taking this too seriously. You wanted him to see you in a new light. You wanted to impress him. You didn't want to come across too excited. You didn't want it to look like you were taking this too seriously. No, definitely not. I want to take this seriously. You want him to see you in a new light. I want to see me in a new light. Yeah, let's go for it. You wanted him to see you in a new light. You looked for something formal. You wanted to keep things casual. You looked for something formal. You attempted to decide between the nicer pieces in your wardrobe, the ones that rarely had a chance to come out. You decided to dress formally because you felt like you had to. You honestly like dressing up. You were dressing to impress. You ought to put the things on. You ought to put the things you own to use. You wanted to make Ma happy. All of these are very good reasons. These are all very realistic reasons. But I'm going to say I honestly like dressing up. There was something magical about the sheen of an elegant fabric and the cut of formal wear, something that transformed everyone into a more sophisticated version of their normal self. You start to decide to wear a button-down shirt. Crisp shirts were a classic formal look for a reason. They were essentially foolproof. You paired your top with a skirt, dress pants. You picked a pair that complemented the color of your top and nodded with satisfaction. It was a slick look. You began to get dressed, your fingers working, stiff zips and awkward fastenings. It felt different against your skin, reminding you with every moment that you were dressed up. Whatever happened tonight, you were pleased that you'd gotten the opportunity to wear this. Now dressed, you gave yourself a final glance over before heading downstairs, ready to head out. You found your moms already waiting in the living room. They were putting the finishing touches on their outfits, Ma strapping her heel into a stiletto shoe, and Mom trying to fasten a bracelet single-handed. Ooh. I completely forgot how amazing my mom's outfits were for the soiree. Yeah, super, super cool. I especially love this mom's outfit. This mom's outfit is cool too, but I like bright colors on formal wear. They look up as you entered. Oh, Hark, you look so nice, don't you think, Pam? Thanks for dressing up, Hark. I hope the party will be prepared for your arrival. You look sharp. Mom was still struggling with the bracelet. You lent a hand, literally by taking one side and holding it as she secured the clasp. Thanks, kiddo. Elizabeth flittered down the stairs, her eyes narrowed. You're still here? Yes, but not for much longer, hopefully. Wait, I know you're excited that we haven't even said goodbye, and I want to go over how things are going to play out. Elizabeth sighed as Mom began listing the rules, ticking them off on her fingers. No ordering takeout or other deliveries. You can't have anyone else come over. Uh-huh. She nodded, resigned to her fate, listening to a set of rules she could predict without so much as a glance at a crystal ball. If anything happens, you can call us or go across the street to the Holdens. Keep the noise down. This house might be empty, but there are people all around in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Usual house rules still apply. Don't do anything you wouldn't do if you were here. And we'll be back no later than 11:30 p.m., but we'll call if there are any issues, so don't tie up the phone all night. Right, all done. Can you go now? Ma strode over and swept Elizabeth up in a hug. Your sister let out a small noise, her eyes widening, and suddenly looked much less like the smug teenager she acted like. You're such a big girl now. I still can't believe it. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. This wasn't the quick departure that she'd been hoping for. Any chance of it ending soon vanished as Mom joined in the hug. Neither can I. It feels like it was only yesterday that... Elizabeth groaned, trying to cut the reminiscing off without success. No, as a parent, I get it. I 100% get it. I know as a kid, you're like, oh, come on, don't talk about things. But now that I'm a parent myself, and I'm already feeling nostalgic about things, about my kids, I 100% get it. You laughed and stayed well clear of the love pile. You felt sorry for your sister. You're glad you weren't the one getting that treatment. You joined in the hug. You laughed and stayed well clear of the love pile. Elizabeth scowled at you over Ma's shoulder. Can you all just go? Jeez. Your family disentangled from the hug in time to catch the doorbell ringing. Ooh, the guest of honor is here. Oh, I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see Derek. She raced over to the door as Ma predicted. Derek had arrived right on time, and he was ushered inside. You look very nice, Derek. I want to see. I want to see my prince. Oh, Derek, you look so cute. I love your bow tie. Oh, that bow tie looks so perfect. You are so adorable, Derek. He's white like my angel, my own personal angel. Thanks, Mrs. Angel. So do you. Derek pulled at the ends of his little polka dot bow in satisfaction. His gaze, though, not so subtly sought you out. And that's going to you too, Hark. Classy. On the final words, his voice faded away softly like the rays of dimming light. His words took you by surprise, but after the earlier worries about your appearance, they were a welcome balm for your nerves. You attempted to control the grin spreading across your face. The small statement had made a big impact. You inspected his outfit in turn. You're looking good too. I love your bow tie, you praised. Love the bow tie, Derek, you teased. I wish I could say the same to you, you joked. You look wonderful. I love your bow tie, you praised. His crisp formal clothes could barely contain the elation Derek was vibrating.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's kind of goofy, but also kind of popular. I love it. I love bow ties, and it is perfect on Derek. Now that Mom had finished reiterating the rules to Elizabeth, who then scurried off to the sanctuary of her room, she came over to greet Derek. Hi, Derek. Nice to have you along for the ride. Thank you for taking me. It's no trouble. You're always welcome. Mom's eyebrows rose in twin lines of concern. Let's all remember that this is only a very, very first date. There's no pressure on either of you, all right? No pressure. Yeah. His absolute enthusiasm began to dim at the statement. Luckily, Mom came over and cheered him on. Mom's the cautious sort, sweetie. You don't need to look so worried. Mom smiled reassuringly. She didn't intend to scare him. Ma laid a hand on her shoulder. We should get to the car. There is nothing fashionable about being late. Oh, and before I forget, thank you so much for getting here on the dot, Derek. That's appreciated.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Mrs. Angel. Derek's the kind of person I would think would be here on time. He would be punctual. I want to thank you, too. The entrance really was perfect. Can you teleport or something, you joked? Always polite, huh, Derek, you lightly teased. That entrance really was perfect. It must have been hard to time things with a long trip here. Yeah, I wasn't going to be late for this. Carefree laughter and conversation flowed from Derek. Man, I told my mom it was 30 minutes before it actually was. I was definitely going to be here when it was time to go. That's how I know. That's how I know how much he wanted to be here with me. Huh? Wouldn't you have been here way ahead of time? Well, I mean, knowing if he's the one who knows his parents well enough to tell them 30 minutes earlier, then yeah. Clever, you got everything figured out. Your mom got you here 30 minutes late? Wait, if that's what happened, did you really just get here? You're great, but your mom is so unreliable. You raised a questioning brow. Clever, you've got everything figured out. My dad does the same thing. He will tell my mom 30 minutes before we're actually supposed to leave. He does that too. And it works! He hooked a couple fingers into his belt loops, grinning victoriously. I tried to. Mom got me here on time, so like 30 minutes before now. I didn't want to interrupt you and your mom's because you were probably getting ready then. I just hung out at the park. With a wink, Derek tried to smooth over the awkwardness of that confession. Jeremy never popped out of the bushes to insult me, so it was all good. Ugh, Jeremy. It made you feel special that he cared so much. What? He went way overboard. Derek was a great guy. He shouldn't feel bad about those things. His behavior worried you. That was too cute. You had no idea how to feel about that. That was too cute. You can come inside my house whenever you want, Derek. That means a lot to me. You're adorable. Your mouth was struck shut and your stomach was fluttering. You can come inside my house whenever you want, Derek. He kicked up a leg bashfully, giggling the whole time. Thanks. I wanted to make a good impression, but I know you would have been cool about it. And even if I did have to be bored for a while, at least it was here in your neighborhood. You never know. There could have been traffic, or what if George fell off a gate and broke his collarbone again? Yeah, true. You never know what'll happen. George fell off a gate and broke his collarbone before? Yeah, when he was 8, but you invited me to a soiree. My life would be over if just one of those things came up and, oh well, guess we're not going after all happened. Derek was drowning in the conversation of his own making. He chose to put a stop to that, building a dam between him and it. Sorry, I don't want to be all complaining when we're going to a party. And besides, coming early isn't going to matter for late because we kept talking about being early. Let's catch up with your moms. Right, we better hurry. You pulled up at the country club. The sun had sunk deep into the horizon, the last of its light sleepily warming the oncoming night. Your moms led the way to the space around the back where the event was being held. The place had been transformed through decoration, with smart tablecloths and elegant ribbons contributing to a festive atmosphere. Musicians dressed in matching black and white were setting up their instruments and flickering through pages of sheet music. And as promised, there was a table covered in plates to care of carefully prepared food. Destination reached, your parents rounded on you and Derek. Things haven't kicked off yet, but don't let that stop you from enjoying yourselves. Have fun, we'll be around if you need us. See you. Bye. Derek enthusiastically waved your moms off, stretching his arm as high as it could go. Bye, Mrs. and Mrs. Angel. Once they'd retreated a distance away, you found him watching you. His eyes sparkled in the dainty dangling lights all around as your date together officially began. Is there anybody you want to socialize with? That's what parties are for sometimes, or we could get refreshments. I love that he wants to socialize. I'll introduce you to people. Could we find a place to sit? We can look at snacks now. I'll introduce you to people. I'm a social butterfly. I know a lot of these people, since my moms have brought me here a lot since I was little. And plus Derek, I feel like would appreciate. I can see Derek like hobnobbing and really like being a popular person with the crowd. Wow, I want to meet them. You beckoned for him to follow you. He strolled up to your side and matched your pace. Most of the attendees skewed significantly older or considerably younger than the two of you, with only a few people around your age. Derek easily found his place in that audience. He dipped his head politely and made his introduction. Hey, I'm Derek. It's really nice to meet you. His well-mannered disposition won over the longtime Cypress members right off the bat. I figured as much. Probably better than Cove. Great to meet you too, son. As you'd expect, there was interest in who you'd brought to the party and what your relationship with him was. And Hart, good to see you. This is your date? Derek clasped his hands behind his back while scooting an extra step closer to you. He was poised as if you were about to take a proper couple's portrait photo. His rosy cheeks would have looked perfect if a picture had been taken. Yeah, Hart needed a date for the party and he picked me for it. His phrasing had caught your attention. Did you really think you had to have a date? You had to have a date and that's why you asked? Or were you just thinking too hard about it? There was no way to tell by this tone. Derek had used his best behavior voice for the adults. And the circle of guests all visibly reacted to the explanation, touching a hand to their cheeks or chest. It was clearly too much for their hearts. Best of luck to you on your date. Derek definitely made an impression on them, as I knew he would. Still, some people focus on the important things. How you were dressed. Don't you look snappy in that outfit? You've scrubbed up well. With the basic niceties taken care of you. You kept on chatting while waiting. You moved to something else to pass the time. We'll move on to something else to pass the time. Hey, Derek. Could we find a place to sit? We can go look at the snacks now. It's okay to eat them, even if the music hasn't started yet. Alright, let's see what they've got. The two of you wandered over to the refreshment table. With it being early in the night, it had barely been touched and the plates were nearly as pristine as when they left the kitchens. I definitely indulge when it comes to things like this. Like weddings. Oh yeah, snacks, food, all of it. The offerings were all tiny and bite-sized, ready to be picked up and sampled. It was immediately apparent that there was plenty to choose from. Just from the level of care with which it was presented, it was clear that this was fancy stuff, which I love. Fancy food. Derek perused the options with a scrutinizing eye. From one end to the other, his gaze swept across the scene. He took a few sniffs for good measure. They put these together themselves, or they hired a catering company to come here and make them, but it's really fresh. That's great. I couldn't tell at all. It looks too bad to be fresh. More like it's gross, but only some of it is any good. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. You nodded happily, agreeing with Derek's assessment. It was quality food. Oh yeah, I love fancy schmancy food. You picked up one of the nearby morsels up and presented it in front of Derek. I wonder if they have raw oysters. That's my jam. So good. Don't knock it till you try it. It looked like a tiny slice of bread. There was a pile of minced veggies and maybe some olives on top. I'll try that one. Without much thought and without taking much time, Derek scooped up only a couple appetizers onto his plate. The rest were left for other guests. Want me to get anything for you? Oh, how sweet. Okay, thanks. Why would you do that? I can get it myself. Oh, how kind, sir. Oh, how kind, sir. Yes, indeed. You teasingly played along. You shake your head no. You nodded. Oh, how kind, sir. Yes, indeed. You teasingly played along. I want it all. Just those ones. One of each, please. Surprise me. I'll say... Surprise me. I'm on it. Let's see how well Derek knows me. Derek put his own plate down to get an empty one. He sidestepped across the length of the table, filling your dish with what he considered to be the prime offerings. Then the plate was offered to you. Thank you. His cheery reply was said at the same moment, he lifted his own food back up. You're welcome. So do you like it? Did you know they add ice to cracker mix? You ate it at a comfortable silence. Did you know they add ice to cracker mix? Derek paused, big bite. What? Crackers, the packaged kind. They add ice to the flour and stuff when mixing ingredients to keep it from fermenting too soon. Cool. Cool is the goal. Yeah, we were the puns. Me and Digital Heart had the same idea, same wavelength. You made Derek laugh, and that made you happy. The company was even better than the food, for sure. After going through a round of sampling, you continued munching their refreshments. You moved on to something else. Derek? Could we find a place to sit?
Obviously.
Oh, duh, yeah, you've got to have a place to sit. Let me just... He checked out the area, swiveling his head around. When Derek couldn't get a good enough view, he hopped up into the air. That one looks open over there. I think so, too. You walked to sit at the edge of the party area, where it was quieter, with fewer people cluttered around. Derek hustled to reach the table first. Don't worry, I'll get that for you. He pulled out a chair and waited. Oh, he's so chivalrous. Did Cove do all of this for me? Did he pull a chair for me? I don't know. But bad props to Derek. Thank you. You passed Derek without a word and sat in a different chair. You're a real gentleman. I'm fine. You accepted the gesture quietly. You're a real gentleman. You took a seat on the woven patio chair. It was still a little warm from what was left of the nightlight. Derek gladly pushed it back into place with you in it. Then Derek swung around the table and got into his own chair, the one right across from you. Where did you learn all your manners? Have you been to formal parties before? You tried to relax. I am curious, where did you learn all your manners? I don't know, my family, teachers, TV shows? I just try to be polite, and usually I am. Huh, that's nice. Thanks. Derek leaned all the way back, giving a grin. The conversation continued until you felt refreshed and ready to go again. All right. Is there anything you'd want to do? Letting the next move be up to him, Derek restlessly looked around the party. He squinted his eyes and really considered the possibilities. Then he gave an unassertive answer. Well, if it wouldn't be a big deal, would it be alright if you showed me around? I've never seen any of this place, so we could go on a walk. Derek's pointer fingers tapped in a rhythm across the edge of the table, like he was spelling out his answer in text on a typewriter. Definitely, I'll be your expert tour guide. Thanks. Derek enthusiastically bounced from his seat. You got to your feet too. I feel like, if I remember correctly, Cove actually was an employee here at the Cypress. I think he was. So I don't think he would have needed a tour of this when I played this the first time. Derek enthusiastically bounced from his seat. You got to your feet too. You led him down a familiar stone walking path you knew would get far. Your lovely stroll around the country club grounds began in earnest. The bustling sounds of the party soon faded away, replaced by whispers of cricket songs and the serene summer breeze. Along the way, you gestured outward to point out what buildings are what, from simple storage sheds to special club rooms for VIP members. And you were able to tell Derek all about the golf holes in the distance that you passed by, including how good or bad your big sister was at completing them. You had a chance to tell the funny story when one time she got a penalty for a strike that landed in the water hazard. She had jumped right in the little pond to retrieve the ball and tried to pretend it never happened while dripping wet. Derek was as amused as he was amazed. He engaged with you by making silly guesses about what you would tell him about next. Derek jokingly suggested that a normal garage was a research facility, studying how to add extra green to the grass. You were so absorbed in your companion for the outing and having the space to yourselves that you didn't realize the growing humdrum around you until it was right around the corner. Derek paused. He noticed it too. Oh, his eyebrows quirked as he tried to reason out the disturbance. Is that people? Did we make a loop and I just missed that? No, we're on the opposite end. It's about as far away from the event area as we could be. Curiously, Derek took big strides while mentally puzzling over what you'd said. Together, you passed by a large wall to reveal another seating area. It too was filled with formally dressed people. Whoa, a second party? None of the faces scattered about were regular members. Everyone was as unrecognizable as any stranger off the street. You had your points of focus, and Derek his own totally separate ones. He spoke aloud to share what he'd noticed. The table of cloths here, and I think the chairs didn't look like that black where we were. Actually, this kind of feels like we got stuck in some alternate reality version of our soiree, where everything is still really fancy, but also still different in weird ways. That's funny, but really, you're right, that has to be the answer, you choked. That'd be horrible. You shrugged over Derek's exaggeration. You giggled over Derek's misunderstanding of things. You're right, that has to be the answer, you choked. Hey, you're the one who's supposed to know the real answer. Okay. Actually, this is their outdoor dining seating for other types of events, ones that aren't the normal soirees. I never have a reason to go here when I visit with my moms. I kind of thought it'd be empty with a soiree happening. Derek's gaze wandered across the area, taking another shrewd look. Yeah, why be in this place when there's food and pretty lights over in the patio? And there's way more teens than that are at our party. Tons of them look like they're our age. This is mysterious. The long list of questions didn't bother Derek. Quite the opposite. Playing detective was something he was having fun with. It's time to get to the bottom of this. I'm gonna ask somebody what's up. Good idea. What? Derek, are we really gonna do that? He whispered nervously. Tally-ho, Watson. You just went along with him. You shrunk down uncontrollably. Tally-ho, Watson. Does Sherlock really say tally-ho? I don't know. It sounded right. You've got a point. The two of you boldly headed into the thick of the family reunion, business, meeting, wedding, secret society meeting, or whatever it was. Soon you would know. The subject Derek here zeroed in on was a tall kid. Oh, is that Baxter? The subject Derek zeroed in on was a tall kid, maybe a little older than him, who stood on the edges of the crowd by themselves. Most everyone else was part of the group or in one-on-one conversation, but not that person. Their hair was short, swooping black strands that framed a pointedly petite face. Their dark brown eyes were heavily lidded. On a second glance, you also noticed there was a small mole on their neck. You wouldn't have been surprised if people often told them they were pretty. The rest of their skin was a pale white, the kind that had somehow escaped any tanning, freckling, or even sunburning in California's summer rays. Derek offered a friendly wave once he was close enough for it to be clear he wasn't just passing by. So, this might sound weird, but what are you guys all doing here? A coy smile came across the stranger's face. We're visitors who are in this town for a dance circuit. This dining area is reserved for our group only tonight. What is going on with you? The tables are immediately turned. You and Derek had questions to answer for. He rubbed his cheek and chuckled uncomfortably. Oops, we didn't know that. There's a soiree happening on the other side of the club for our members and their guests. That's where we came from. Please don't tell on us. That got them to open their eyes completely. They even leaned forward just a bit, much more engaged in the conversation. I thought I noticed something that way. It's been bothering me the entire evening. I was planning to check when it got darker. Yeah, well, that's what it is. Sorry for crashing your party. Don't apologize. The self-described dancer's eyes sunk back into their half-open state as their lips curved even further. The smile had become a true smirk. I'm still going to yours when I get the chance. The mutual exchange of secrets brought a lighthearted sense of camaraderie between your tiny group. But it didn't last. They inclined their head in a slight nod before breezing away. Bye, good luck with your dance circuit and everything else. Goodbye, have a nice life. Thanks for talking to us. You watched them leave. Yeah, good luck not getting caught. You lifted up your arm and waved. Goodbye. As soon as your vague acquaintance mixed back into the crowd of fellow suited performers, Derek wrapped his arms around his chest. Okay, I feel way more out of place now that we're not even talking to anybody. Let's go back to the path before one of the adults realizes we're not supposed to be here. It's gonna be like that movie with the aliens who take over people where they point and yell at real humans. That's so freaky. It'd be really adorable if he also was not a big, fan of scary movies. Right, we've gotta go. Wait, they probably can't tell. Let's join this party. If you want to leave, I don't mind. Could we stay? That's scary. I want to leave. That's not gonna happen, Derek. We can hang out here. No. Right, we've gotta go. I'm gonna say we gotta go. Derek's expression tense with a grim seriousness. He took an extra step towards you, never taking his eyes off your surroundings. Some of the guests had already begun directing lingering glances at the two of you, unsure of your presence there. The closeness allowed you to hear conspirational words under his breath. How are we going to handle this? We need to hide. We can escape faster if we get out on the grass. We just need to pretend we belong and walk out. I've got no clue. You froze. We just need to pretend we belong and walk out. Trying to ignore the stares you made for your break for it.